You know the story of Rasputin's death. He was lured to a palace basement in St. Petersburg in December 1916. His killers fed him cakes and wine laced with enough cyanide to kill 5 men. He ate and drank and showed no sign of distress. So they shot him in the chest. He fell. They declared him dead. Then he got up. So they shot him again and again. They beat him. They tied him up. They threw him into a frozen river. And he finally died. It is one of the most famous death stories in history. It has been in textbooks for over a century. There is a famous song about it. Here is what the autopsy report actually says. No poison was found in his system. No water was found in his lungs. He was shot in the head at close range. And he was already dead before his body was dropped into the river. The entire story of the poison, the miraculous survival, the multiple shootings, the frozen river, was almost certainly invented by the men who killed him. Grigory Rasputin was a Siberian peasant who rose to become one of the most influential figures in Imperial Russia. He was not a monk despite being called the Mad Monk his entire life. He never held any official position in the Russian Orthodox Church. He was a self-described holy man who had an extraordinary ability to comfort the Tsarina Alexandra, whose young son suffered from hemophilia. Whatever Rasputin did in those private moments, it worked well enough that the Tsarina trusted him completely. That trust made him powerful enemies. A group of Russian nobles led by Prince Felix Yusupov decided Rasputin needed to die. They believed he had too much influence over the royal family at a moment when Russia was losing the First World War and the entire empire was collapsing. On the night of December 16, 1916, they invited Rasputin to the Yusupov Palace, and they killed him. What happened next is where the story and the historical record part weighs completely. Yusupov published his memoirs after fleeing Russia. In those memoirs, he described a dramatic supernatural struggle, the poison that did not work, the man who would not die, the desperate shootings, the frozen river. It was a bestseller. But Rasputin's own daughter Maria wrote a book in 1929 challenging every detail. She pointed out something specific and devastating. Her father did not like sweets. He never ate cakes. He would never have touched a platter of poisoned cakes under any circumstances. And the autopsy report confirmed exactly what she suspected. No poison in his system, no water in his lungs. A contact gunshot wound to the forehead, meaning the gun was pressed directly against his head when it fired. He was not running across a courtyard being chased and shot from a distance the way Yusupov described. He was executed at close range. In 2024, a forensic analysis published in the peer-reviewed journal Forensic Science Medicine and Pathology by researchers at the University of Adelaide reviewed all available evidence and reached a clear conclusion. The simplest version of events is that Rasputin was executed by a contact gunshot wound to the forehead when he visited the Yusupov Palace. The events of that evening appear to have been significantly embellished. Yusupov needed Rasputin to be something inhuman, something almost impossible to kill. Because if Rasputin was just a man who was shot in the head in a palace basement, then Yusupov and his co-conspirators were just men who murdered someone. But if Rasputin was a supernatural creature who survived poison and multiple gunshots and a frozen river, then they were heroes who defeated a monster. The myth served the killers, not the truth. They wrote the story. They published it. The world believed it, and for over a century the textbooks agreed with the men who pulled the trigger. They wrote the story. They published it. The world believed it. What you do with that information is up to you.